Welcome to this episode of Commissioner's Corners. Today we're going to be talking with Andy Nelson, who is the new Public Works Director for Kitsap County. So stay tuned, you'll learn a lot. Joining me now is Andy Nelson. He is the new Public Works Director for Kitsap County. Andy, thank you so much for taking the time to be part of the program today.
It's my pleasure, Commissioner. Great to be here.
And publicly, we welcomed you at one of our recent meetings, but just for all of our viewers of this program, would like to take the opportunity to welcome you to the county family and appreciate you joining the team and bringing your expertise to play. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's been a great welcome that I've had so far to the county and to the Public Works Department. My family and I are very excited to become part of this community.
Wonderful. So to start off, why don't we kind of dial it back a little bit and share with the viewers, what's your background, what's your work experience been like?
Right. I'm retiring from a 29-year career of active military service with the U.S. Army. I was an Army engineer officer and worked a variety of engineering and construction related assignments from my first duty station back in 1985 through my last assignment in California, most recently just this year. I am an engineer by education and trade. I have a great love and passion for planning, design, engineering, construction, operations, and maintenance of facilities and infrastructure. And my military career has allowed me to gain a fair amount of experience in that way. I've done everything from small project engineering jobs as a platoon leader or company commander of a construction company to large program infrastructure development in excess of $1 billion. And I've just had a great opportunity to learn about the industry, understand how engineering and construction can serve the public in delivering goods and services to the needs of people who live in geographic locations, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to continue that here.
Well, wonderful. Now, as I understand it, this isn't your first time in Washington State. When you talk about your engineering degree, I think you spent a little time or affiliated with the university on the other side of the water.
I was, yes. I had the great opportunity to come to the University of Washington to pursue my master's in civil engineering. The Army has a program within its Civil Works program that allows officers to come get advanced degrees and then go work for utilization tours to put that experience and knowledge into place. So I studied civil engineering at the University of Washington 1993 to 1994, had a great experience with the university itself, as well as interacting with other Naval and Army engineer officers and other students that were part of that program.
Well, wonderful. So apparently the rainy weather and the gray didn't scare you away that time.
No, not at all. Well, my first time in Washington State was training for ROTC as a cadet down at Fort Lewis. Spent about 6 weeks in the Nisqually Woods and got to know what rain in Washington is all about, and didn't scare me off. Quite conversely, I gained a great admiration for the Pacific Northwest as a whole. It's a beautiful region of the country, has such a diversity of landscape as well as cultural and climate kinds of aspects here that it's really a wonderful place to live.
Well, speaking of the kind of the cultural piece of it, you have 29 years in the Army culture, and the Navy here locally is a big part of our community. So how do you see kind of that time in the military being able to help maybe bridge or understand our local culture, the Navy culture here in Kitsap?
Well, the military, whether Navy, Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, or even the Coast Guard, is a uniformed culture of service to the nation. And I find that common across the branches of service. I have had the opportunity to work with the other branches on a number of operational deployments, as well as installation work where we have common boundaries or collaboration points with the other services. And although there are differences in traditions and hierarchy in each of the services, I find that at least within the engineers of each of the branches, there's a lot of commonality in working, again, to deliver infrastructure and facilities for our customers. I see that here in Kitsap County, with the large naval population, robust mission on the multiple installations, that as a guy with a military background, it's a comfortable place to be, it feels to me. When I talk to local people, there are a lot of connections to military service, whether it's in the Navy or the other branches of service. It seems to be a community that recognizes and welcomes the military mission, as well as the service members and their families who are part of that mission. And I find it very comforting and welcoming to be here in that type of a culture.
I think it's the joke that our local commander said, that if the Air Force recruiter actually moved on to the Bangor base, they would have all branches of government or of the service covered. So, so what is it about public works that you find interesting, challenging, that kind of really makes you want to be involved in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had opportunities to pursue different parts of the engineering and planning, design, construction industry. However, the time that I spent, especially with Army Corps of Engineer district offices and divisions, gave me a great appreciation of how government can help the good of the people, can provide infrastructure and services that individuals cannot. So I gained a great appreciation for that in the Corps of Engineers Civil Works program, as well as military construction on installations. And so I see working for local government, county government, as an opportunity for me to continue in that vein. I have a great appreciation for delivering those services to the people, and this is a way that I can continue to do that. And I have been quite impressed with what I've seen within Kitsap County Department of Public Works and the county government here, in how committed and serious the workforce here is delivering those services. So I feel validated in my assumption that county government is a way for me to continue that public service.
Well, great. Well, at the time of the taping of this program, we have you have about 3 or so weeks under your belt. So right. Share some of your first impressions and thoughts about Kitsap County Public Works.
I will. First, let me talk about the people that I've met. I've been quite impressed with the workforce and staff and the leadership of the Public Works Department here. A lot of really great people. And they are people that are committed to each other, the team that they're working on, as well as the county that they're working for and their constituents. I see that in a couple of different ways. One, in how they interact with their teammates, how they're energetic and excited when they come to work in the morning. And the fact that most people that I've met have been with the county and the department for a number of years, 5, 10, 15, 28, 32 years. People come to Kitsap County, work in the department and stay there. They may move from a division to a division, or certainly advance in leadership opportunities and things that way, but they stay with the Department of Public Works. That's a great sign of commitment both to the people that they serve as well as the climate that is part of the Public Works Department. So I'm very impressed with the people. I'm impressed with the in-house capability that the department has, whether it be roads crews that have not only the capability just to repair a pothole, but also to do complete pavement overlays, resurfacing of our roads in the county, the chip seal capability that we have in-house to Public Works are all great examples of capability that the department has to take care of its own infrastructure. I have not always seen that in other places. The fact that we own and operate our own quarries and can manufacture our own aggregate means that we have ready material when we need it at an effective cost point, and we can ensure the quality capability of that material when we need it, either for pavement repair operations or sanding operations during the winter time. In our engineering department, we've got a great staff of engineers that are very experienced in designing the intersections, the bridge projects that the county has done, and other infrastructure. Our stormwater management team with fantastic capability where they're not only maintaining the stormwater ponds and infrastructure that we have, but also retrofitting and expanding and creating new stormwater capabilities for clean water and groundwater recharge, and that is work that we're doing in-house. I could go on with other examples, but it impresses me that the county's made the commitment and the investment to have that kind of in-house capability. As an engineer and a engineering manager, it's rewarding to me to know that we have that capability in-house.
I share your sense of the impression of the work of public works staff. It's rare where you find kind of that nexus from everything from the environment to economic development. And what I mean by that, if it weren't for our roads department, I mean, that is our way that we create a quality infrastructure for goods and services and commerce to happen in our community. We're dealing with the environment, whether it comes from our sewer utility, from stormwater, or from solid waste, and moving waste out of our community, et cetera. It's phenomenal. And I don't know if everyone kind of gets that sometimes, where it's really the magnitude and the impact of what Public Works is responsible for in our community. If it went away, our community would look very different very quickly.
That's very true, very true.
So Kitsap County is quite different from the Dakotas. I know that's the Midwest, and the upper Midwest especially has been part of your past. So what really kind of drew you back here? I know you had the time in school and pursuing your degree and training, but so what was it, at retirement from the Army, I mean, you could have picked anywhere. So why Kitsap?
Why Kitsap? There's some really great reasons, and I'm happy to share them because I'm real excited about our decision to come here. Because my wife and I, with our 2 children, have lived around the world a couple of different times in many different places, and around in the 4 corners of the United States, and we're both from the Midwest. We've seen a lot and really enjoyed thoroughly every place that we've been. But because of that life experience and the exposure to a lot of great things and aspects of any one community or region, we were able to develop really a list of things that we were looking for to enjoy in our lifestyle. And I have to say, Kitsap County is the sweet spot of all of those kinds of things that we put together. Probably first and foremost, we were looking for a more rural type of lifestyle instead of in the middle of a large metropolitan environment. Yet we really enjoy many of the wonderful cultural aspects of being close to a wonderful metropolitan area. So we see Kitsap County with direct access to Seattle as matching that criteria quite well. We've got a wonderful buffer of Puget Sound between us, but when we want to get there, we can get there to the big city. My wife and I grew up around small bodies of water in a very seasonal way in the northern states in the Midwest, but we have always continued our connection to and the love of water sports. And so Kitsap County, being a peninsula surrounded by the pristine waters of Puget Sound and the lakes and things that are here as well, really fits that criteria of wanting to have access to and enjoy the water, not only from a sport kind of view, but just the serenity and wonderful environmental aspect of water and shoreline and the wildlife that comes with that as well.
Now, our previous Public Works Director, Randy Castile, was with the county for over 30 years. And wonderful guy, accomplished a lot in his tenure with us. So how, as the new guy on the block coming into an organization that he's definitely left an indelible mark on, how do you balance the past accomplishments with what you kind of, the goals and moving forward into the future?
Well, first I'd like to acknowledge the work that Randy Castile had done and the things that he put in place, because as I enter the position of the director of the Public Works Department, I just recognize that things are running very, very well. The team that he put together, the systems that he had in place, carried through the period in his absence before my arrival, and my assessment after only a few weeks is that the department is running very smoothly. That's a testament to him, I believe, and the leadership that he put in place with the team that is there now. So I'm not in the frame of mind where I have to best Mr. Castile or what he's done. If I can sustain, and as evolution happens within the county, things are always changing. As the community grows and develops, there will be plenty of challenges for me and the current team within the department to take on and assist the county in moving on to its next priorities.
Okay. So another, going back kind of to your military background, in that we have a lot of individuals from different branches of the military that do fall in love with Kitsap and like to call Kitsap or retire here, call it home. There's often kind of I had an opportunity to attend one of our Veterans Advisory Board meetings a few weeks ago, and one of the speakers was talking about how to make that transition from the military into sort of the civilian workforce. And I think that's always a challenge. I think it wouldn't hurt. I know it's kind of not public works related, but if you wouldn't mind sharing some of your thoughts really around how, or even advice to folks that might be seeing this program that said, I've gained a lot of experience in my military career. How do I package that for a different sector? There's a lot of transferable skills, but sometimes the terminology is different, all that. So do you have any sage advice?
Well, I can speak from the experience that I just went through. First, I would say that anybody who is transitioning should have complete confidence in the skills that they have gained through the military experience. The military is a fantastic opportunity to grow and develop personal skills, especially in the leadership arena. If any service member has been in charge of even one other soldier, airman, sailor, or Marine, they are gaining invaluable experience that I found that anybody on the private sector or in public sector of the civilian world is interested in.
Mm-hmm.
There is a challenge in translating the jargon of the military into the civilian speak. And I found that if I just simply spoke the words instead of using the acronym, most of the words made a lot of good sense that did translate well. I did find that not everybody in the civilian sector understands military service and how it drives commitment and loyalty to organization, clarity of understanding and task and purpose in accomplishing a mission, achieving objectives, and teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And in some engagements that I had, it was difficult to translate that experience that I had gained into how it would fit into the civilian sector. And so I would encourage people to think about how to put their military experience into phraseology or terminology that the civilian sector may be more comfortable with. I ran into one circumstance where a hiring official just told me, well, we can't hire a military guy. You guys are too directive, you're too authoritative. Our people simply won't understand how to work for you. And I chuckled a little bit because it's a generality or a misconception that everybody in the military is a drill sergeant, and that's certainly not the case. So I'll come back to the beginning of my thought is that the military provides such good training and experience in building and leading teams, working as part of teams in a collaborative effort, that experience, whatever your job skill might be, your military specialty would be, that common capability to lead and influence others is very valuable to any organization in the military or in the civilian sector.
Great. I think that's wonderful advice to share with those viewing the program. Probably the one word that I take away, really, it's about teamwork. It may be kind of organizational and institutional type of teamwork, but it really boils down to that collaboration, and that's how we get anything done that we're trying to do and provide to the community. So
very true.
In terms of our Public Works Department, where we have the Stormwater Division, solid waste, roads, etc., have you experienced in your background sort of that level of diversity? Because I think when you talk about public works, it depends on the jurisdiction as to what all the services are that are incorporated into that program. Have you had that experience before? Is this more or less than you've had in the past?
It's a little bit different mix than what I've had in my past. On military installations where I've been directly involved with public works in the administration and delivery of services, typically potable water delivery as well as power utilities are often part of the infrastructure that a military public works department will do. So where I've had some experience with switchgear and transformer stations and medium and low voltage power distribution, that's not part of the equation here in this public works department with the public utilities that we have that provide that infrastructure. I find lots of commonality in the engineering, planning, and construction services that the county provides here, the planning of long-term capital improvements and things that way. I have a little bit more experience in vertical facility management here. That's part of administrative services that does the facilities, heating and cooling and regeneration and custodial services of the facilities, and are part of public works here for the county. We're more outwardly focused towards the community. The actual operation of wastewater treatment facilities, as well as the solid waste, typically on a military installation, many times is provided by the local community. So having that as an in-house capability is great. Something that I have a little bit less experience with.
Okay.
Last thing I might mention is the environmental aspect of what the county does through the Public Works Stormwater Management team is a fantastic capability for a very important environmental piece of the equation that on a military installation is always watched and adhered to, but don't necessarily have the robust staff that we have to operate and maintain those facilities here.
Which drives home the point, when you're surrounded by water and almost over 300 miles of coastline, it's really important how we handle our stormwater and treat that or
absolutely
infiltrate it. So is there anything, we just have a little bit of time left in the program, is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Well, for anybody that might be viewing from the county team, I'd like to show my appreciation and say thanks for the great welcome here to Kitsap County and the community. For those that are constituents of the county services that Public Works provides, you have my commitment to sustain that excellent service that the administration has provided up to this date, and I look forward to getting to know the county better, understanding the challenges that are here, and doing what I can to be sure that the County Public Works Department is providing the service that we all need to ensure a quality of life here in the county.
Well, great. Well, Andy, I appreciate it so much through taking the time out of your schedule and everything, especially still ramping up and getting your boots wet, so to speak. It's wonderful for you to take the time to be part of the program, share a little bit about yourself and Public Works with our community, our viewers. Welcome to the county team.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And I hope that you enjoyed getting to know Andy Nelson a little bit more. And I look forward to seeing you on the next issue of Commissioner's Corner.